Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about Disney's recent trend of producing live-action remakes of its classic animated musicals. What started as a one-off thing back in 2017 when they released the Beauty and the Beast remake, well, this has now turned into Disney doing it for virtually every major release it had in the 1990s. This year we've seen both Aladdin and The Lion King are getting live-action remakes, and not to mention Dumbo, which had another one come out too, albeit that original movie is a bit older and not a musical, but still, I think you guys get the point. Disney is live-action remaking everything they can think of at this point, and they're also wrapping up live-action remaking 4 of its biggest franchises from its musical blockbuster-filled renaissance that again took place in the 90s mostly. So after Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King, next Disney is going back to the one they passed over, the ocean-themed musical hit that put Disney back on the map in 1989. I'm of course talking about the legendary The Little Mermaid movie, but Disney has made some recent announcements about this film that have a few people worried about it. In a stunning move that completely breaks tradition, something that is usually not done by the stone-cold wannabe family-friendly leaders at Disney, but regardless, in an effort to appear woke or down with the SJWs, Disney has decided to cast a black woman as Ariel, the main titular character for the Little Mermaid franchise. That's right, they're straight up blackwashing this thing, without thoughts as to how this could offend or turn off original fans of the original movie. Here's a picture of the new actress, who is named Halle Bailey, which many are already confusing with Halle Berry. And as if that initial awkwardness about this actress isn't bad enough, they're also pulling this direct and deliberate blackwashing of Ariel with some no-name up-and-coming actress who doesn't really add any value or notoriety to the picture. This kind of move would be much more justified if they at least used someone with a little name recognition, or even someone already famous elsewhere. And this is part of the reason why someone like Scarlett Johansson being cast as the lead in the movie Ghost in the Shell makes sense, because even though the SJWs cried and complained about whitewashing when that happened, there still was the obvious reason for casting Scarlett there. On top of being stunning and beautiful and a proven actress, Scarlett also has worldwide name recognition. She's a household name. But with this new movie and this new situation, casting discount Halle Berry here for Ariel, this can only be happening for one reason now. It's not because she's famous or noteworthy, it's because they wanted to make a white character into a black or brown one, to appease woke social justice warriors and try and make Disney look progressive and down with the cause along the way. Ironic how the same leftists who cried about whitewashing and Ghost in the Shell, well, they're also the same people praising the blackwashing of Ariel in The Little Mermaid. And I think they truly believe that hypocrisy is justified because they hate white people and shame us so much. And this is also a bit of culture war for the left here too. Make no mistake, guys, they are treating every role, movie, and franchise like they're pieces on the chessboard or little figures in the game Risk. SJWs want complete and total domination in not only our movies, TV, and pop culture either, but also politics, sports, banking, schools, and public places, and even in your everyday life. They want control of everything, like Big Brother, because they're radical socialist leftists, like from the movie 1984. It's also worth noting that there's another troubling trend being furthered here by this decision. This isn't the first time a black or brown person has taken the role of a formerly white character in movies or television, nor is this the first time they've blackwashed a red-headed character specifically, like with The Little Mermaid. For example, Zendaya plays the new MJ and love interest in the recent Spider-Man movies, and MJ is a character that had traditionally been red-headed and white and sexy for generations. Next, there was the character Starfire from Teen Titans. This Justice League subgroup in the DC comic book universe has had loads of years of history and dozens of adaptations too. And although this character Starfire is an alien who's often portrayed with oranges-colored skin, she also still appears to be red-headed and having the complexion and bone structure of a European descendant white woman. That was until recently when they cast Starfire as a black chick with red weave now for no good reason, other than to virtue signal and make this new TV version woke. Next, let's turn to the Thor movie series, which adapted their Heimdall character into being a black one played by Idris Elba, who's an awesome actor and his name recognition now supports this decision. But the original comic book Heimdall does appear to be white with a red tinted beard, thus he's a redhead getting cast as a black person now too. Next, we got Jamie Foxx, who played Electro in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie a few years back. And then a new no-name black guy who plays Kid Flash, a formerly red-headed younger version of the Flash, on the TV show now. And finally, Little Orphan Annie was remade with a black girl instead of the traditional red-headed white girl, which had become symbolic for the character and franchise for years. So yeah, I think you guys can see the point here. For some reason, not only are these projects blackwashing previously and famously white characters, but they're also specifically coming after red-headed characters for some reason. And if you think about it more, at only 1 to 2% of the population, Redheads are one of the largest unprotected minorities in the world. They've also been attacked throughout history, and I'm not just talking about the kick a ginger day kind of thing. For example, Hitler's Nazi Germany and that regime considered redheads to be demonic, and they even went on to ban marriage between two redheads, believing they would go on to produce more demon-like children. So with that said, how come Jews are the only people who get support and sympathy and future protection because of what happened to them in World War II? Redheads were persecuted there, and they still are to this day. So I say we stop this madness now, Hollywood. Stop erasing our redheaded characters, because you're kind of being racist, a little offensive, and somewhat Hitler-esque. Next, let's talk about another interesting coincidence with this new live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. I found it pretty funny when I realized Lin-Manuel Miranda is the one doing the music for this thing, because if you are aware of him and his career and his musical background, you know this Miranda guy is the king of black or brown washing characters. In fact, Miranda got rich and famous for producing and starring in the hit Broadway musical Hamilton, which is not only black or brown washing characters, but they're also black or brown washing historical figures, namely the founding fathers of the United States of America. God bless this country. But let's not get distracted. The musical Hamilton is a sort of historical based story, inspired mostly by the life of United States founding father Alexander Hamilton, but also other founding fathers appear in the show as well. And as the SJWs like to put it, the casting of this was color conscious, mostly being non-white actors playing characters from American history, who were of course actually really white. So I guess you could say Lin-Manuel Miranda pioneered modern race bending in casting, and he took the SJW tactic of black and brown washing formerly white characters to a whole new level. So I guess it's really no surprise Miranda is involved in this new The Little Mermaid project. In fact, I would guess this kind of recasting of formerly white characters was his idea to begin with. This really reminds me of the culture warring going on here again too, because although it may seem smaller and less important since Ariel is a fictional character, but it still seems pretty significant to me, and it is significant to the SJWs on the other side too. Make no mistake, if they're going to cheer this on and count this kind of race bending and casting as a win for them, then I think it clearly means something to most people. And while this isn't as bad or manipulative as recasting actual historical figures like in Hamilton, this is in the same ballpark though. In fact, to most people and especially kids, Ariel and the other Disney princesses, they are more real to them than these historical figures anyway. Not to mention, with this woke casting happening, they're not only getting a role model for young black chicks to look up to, they're also taking away one for young redheaded girls to look up to. Ariel is one of the few redheaded leading ladies out there still, especially considering how the left likes to blackwash them so much, as mentioned before. That's why, in my opinion now, this new movie is more of a spin-off than a remake. It's not a straight reboot either, more of a reimagining of The Little Mermaid. Changing the main character's race might not seem like such a big deal at first, but this is going to have lasting ramifications in the film's story, and in the overarching franchise and history as well. Don't forget, Little Mermaid is as iconic and widespread as any of the other Disney princesses. She's been around since 1989 too, so now we'll have to refer to the character's original interpretation and this new black one separately. Things will get confusing and convoluted real quick too, certainly, especially on your next trip to Disney World where the two versions of Ariel have to face off against each other and have some sort of rap battle or something. I'd actually like to see that one though, but that's besides the point. The new live-action Little Mermaid won't be a straight cartoon to reality adaptation, like how Aladdin was just a month ago. And by the way, Aladdin was really strict about casting all Arab characters. Even the hint of having a white character in that movie made the radical leftists enraged and defensive. Yet somehow, recasting the main character in another movie is totally fine, because they clearly want less whites in popular cinema. It's really so obvious now, because in the end, that is what's really going on here. This is a bit of a culture war that's been made into an us versus them by our detractors. So while you might not have wanted this battle and you might be over it already, but it's still going on behind the scenes and in discussions being had online too, regardless of your willingness to participate. SJWs want less whites in prominent movie roles, and they want to repeatedly recast redheads specifically because they want more black actors out there. I mean, do you guys really think they couldn't find a white redhead to pull off this movie role? Are we really going to pretend this no-name Halle Berry clone is being picked because she's the best performer for the job? Please. She's being picked because she has the right skin color that's really PC and hip right now, and that's pretty clear. And Disney is caving into leftists and possibly ruining one of their upcoming live-action remakes before it could even get filmed and get started. Aladdin was at least decent at best before this, earlier this summer, and while I'm hoping the upcoming Lion King could be better, I'm certainly worried this whole trend is going downhill fast and Disney could be blowing it again. Not to mention, we did do a video on the Lion King's cast a while back about how they were also getting woke with their casting, overly pushing blacks into previously white voiced characters. There is is a better argument for these changes though, since The Lion King is an African tale, but at the same time, they're voicing animal characters in this African story, which kind of makes you think twice, so this also muddles the whole issue on this one, so I would say Lion King's casting controversy is a bit of a wash in the end, but Aladdin's issues this year were certainly not to be ignored, and this new bit about The Little Mermaid is definitely troubling too, to say the least. Disney just can't get this casting shit right, can they? And perhaps they are between a rock and a hard place here too, since the SJWs would certainly complain about needing more so-called diversity if they didn't try and race bend things like this more. But I say Disney and other companies for that matter, they should just start ignoring the leftists and try to be more sane and reasonable, and take a stab at catering to more moderate, less race-obsessed Americans like ourselves. What do you guys think? Is The Little Mermaid getting woke? Is this blackwashing of Ariel necessary? And do you find it funny that we will now be seeing an underwater family of black mermaids? You know, since black people traditionally can't swim very well and tend to hate water. Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.